Hi everyone, it's Christine. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. So have some of you come across the acronym VUCA? I came across this acronym at the end of 2021 reading a book about the mechanics of our attention span. Highly recommend reading this book. It's fascinating. I've included the title and the author in my written post. I want to talk about this acronym in the context of psychological safety in the workplace. Now, for those of you who've heard the term psychological safety without necessarily knowing what it means, it essentially means I'm confident using my voice at work without fear of being punished or humiliated. So I can share my ideas, my thoughts, my concerns, even my mistakes. The beauty of psychological safety is it creates an environment of learning. You can think of it as a loop. So in this environment, you not only have strong leadership, but you have team members who are routinely learning something, sharing it with others. Together they apply it and they achieve an outcome. And even better, if there can be an iteration between that application and that achievement. The other beauty about psychological safety is it creates a habit, or it fosters this habit and enables this habit of proactive inquiry. Team members are routinely asking, what can we do better for the sake of effectiveness and impact and not for the sake of blame? In work environments of psychological safety, you definitely have strong leadership, strong management. You also have highly contributing team members who are highly contributing not only because of their skills, knowledge, expertise, but also because of their behaviors and their habits. Now, we know through extensive research that organizations that function within a certain degree of uncertainty, complexity, interdependence absolutely need psychological safety. It is crucial to their effectiveness. So I've been asking myself, well then what happens when that complexity and uncertainty gets cranked to an all-time high because of what's happening outside? And that's what I want to talk about today, hence the acronym VUCA. By its very nature, I think the COVID-19 pandemic had the power of eroding psychological safety in our workplaces. This period offered up volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, or VUCA for short. So if we think of the pandemic period, information was sparse, and then contradictory, and then changing constantly. There were no easy answers or solutions. The amount of information coming our way drained our attention span, whether that was information in the form of news articles, social media posts, or what people were telling us. Some of us may remember moments where we felt like we were functioning in a fog, or we felt like our brain just wasn't triggering properly. That's actually what led me to read this book on the attention span. For some of us, it triggers this mind trap of control. If I can't control what's happening out there, I'm going to control what's in front of me. So what that translates to in the workplace is I'm going to control the tasks I delegate, the ETAs I assign, the number of emails I send out, the workload I take on. It probably doesn't mean I can control the amount of meetings I take, but that's a whole other problem. Now, layer on to this pressure to deliver. So in some organizations, there was increased pressure to deliver. This all translates to employees or team members who start to think, I'm not exactly sure what's being asked of me. I should clarify, but it's fine. I'll figure it out. I just need to get this done. Or I should share what was just said in that call, but I really need to get this done. Or, I should attend that virtual chat, but I really need to get this done. Right? So you start to over-rotate on delivery, and then that's your psychological safety takes a hit because people are sharing less. They're not engaging in this learning loop. Let's add onto this remote work. So some of us have really benefited from remote work. I certainly have. But this period did represent a social degree of social isolation, especially during lockdowns. It also represented reduced instances of creative or spontaneous encounters. I'm interacting with people that I choose to because I've booked the time. I'm not bumping into someone I haven't seen in months at the coffee shop. Now at work, pre-pandemic, if we think about our interactions pre-pandemic, it could look like I'm sitting in my cubicle and I turn to my cubicle partner and I say, hey, I read this thing last night and I think it relates to what you're working on. Or I'm in the elevator and someone comes in and I say, oh, I meant to grab some time with you because I think what you're working on actually affects what I'm working on. Or at the end of a meeting, you pull someone aside and you say, I'm dealing with this issue and I think you dealt with something similar. Can we stay back and chat about it? Those interactions that would happen spontaneously, organically, in a remote world represent another ping, another notification, another MS Teams message, right? So you start to pay attention now, especially if you're in an organization that makes you feel like you need to get things done. So we start to think, again, I can share what I just heard. I can contribute to this brainstorming. I can review my team members' documents just to provide some feedback. I can brainstorm, I can geek out, but I really need to get this done. Okay, so all this to say, interactions that happen spontaneously, now there's that little added effort that could dissuade us. And when we're withholding ourselves, not engaging in the learning loop, not sharing, then we're robbing ourselves and others of these learning opportunities. This is not to say, and I do want to be clear about this, I'm not saying that in remote organizations, it automatically means people aren't sharing and learning. It just means that in this pandemic, in some organizations, this might be what has happened. So if you have noticed that your team members are sharing less or vocalizing their concerns less, or not, if you're noticing that the dialogue isn't as rich as it used to be, that people aren't brainstorming or geeking out on things as much as they used to, it's normal considering the incredibly difficult period we just went through. There are things that you can do, and there are things that are fairly easy to get you back on track and start to regain some of that psychological safety you may have lost during this period of time. And I'm going to share those in my next video. For now, if this video resonates with you, if it kind of looks and smells like the environment you're in and you want to chat about it, don't hesitate to use my Calendly link and book some time with me. I'm always happy to chat. If anyone is interested in digging into the theories and the frameworks of psychological safety, the leading expert is Amy Edmonston. And so I highly recommend her work. I've added her book in the written post as well. My favorite part about posting is reading your comments and your feedback. And so please, I look forward to hearing what you think about this. Please respond and share your feedback, your experiences, even if you disagree. In the meantime, I hope you got something out of listening to this video. I will post again in a couple of weeks. Thank you for clicking. And between now and then, enjoy the fall weather, and I'll be back soon.